ready for this. Okay, let's go. Oh, and by the way, Dust1218 is the new channel name because he needed to change it. Now let's get this out of the way and jump right into it. Here are 45 amazing multiplication problems to train your mind. Let's start with 9 one-digit multiplication problems. The first one is 0 times 7. You know the answer to any number times zeros or 0 times any number, right? 1 multiplied by 4 is the second multiplication problem we got today. You also know the answer to 1 times anything or vice versa. 1 multiplied by 7 is the third multiplication problem, and you do the same as the second. But let's not go too fast, okay? 1 multiplied by 8 is the fourth out of 45, and this one is the same type as the second or third problems. Come on, let's do something different. But with the fifth problem, we can't because it's 1 multiplied by 2. I don't know why we have so many of the same math problems in a row. 9 times 5 is a nice break from these different problems. Now that's better. This multiplication problem is also easy to solve. 4 times 1 is the seventh multiplication problem. Well, you know it's the same thing as problem number 2. Do you remember? 2 times 4 is our second to last multiplication problem before moving on to 2 digits. Does this remind you of the infamous Lego brick? Also, the numbers for the multiplication problem are powers of 2. 4 times 0 is our last one-digit multiplication problem, and you know the drill. Just multiply by 0. Now let's move on to the 8 two-digit multiplication problems. 13 times 12 is the 10th multiplication problem we'll do. Did we mention that this is the first two-digit multiplication problem? But if you learned up to 20 times tables, you'll probably still remember the result of this problem. 72 multiplied by 55 is our second two-digit multiplication problem. It's not here to say you can remember the result of this problem, but it's still pretty easy if you know how to do two-digit multiplication. 26 multiplied by 83 is our dozenth multiplication problem, and it's still pretty easy. Just do 4 multiplications, add some numbers, and it's solved. 2 times 45 has some meaning. It's twice as much as 45. And do you remember 45 as a 45-degree angle? I bet you do. And 48 times 62? Well, it's more like 4 dozen times 62. Why? Because 48 is a multiple of a dozen. The 15th problem is 64 times 38. And it's like doubling 38 6 times in a row. Let's not forget that this is the third to last multiplication problem before we go to 3 digits. This one is 22 times 71, and we are at the penultimate multiplication problem before we have 3-digit multiplication problems. The 17th multiplication problem is 22 times 85, and it's the last multiplication problem with only 2 digits. In addition, the first number for this problem is the same as the one in the previous. Let's go on to triple digits. The 18 multiplication problem, 686 times 612, will be the first of 7 3-digit multiplication problems we'll deal with today. And after 7 more of these get done, we go to 6 4-digit ones. We are now on problem 19, and this is 186 times 436, and the last digits for both numbers are the same. Up next is problem number 20. So problem number 20 is 553 times 675, and this is getting harder with every multiplication problem solved. Well, not necessarily every single multiplication problem, but we're getting closer. This one is 367 times 405 will be the fourth 3-digit multiplication problem. And this one has a 0. The first time we saw this with more than 1 digit in this video, it sure is. The 22nd problem is 522 times 554, and we are almost halfway there before we complete all of these multiplication problems. Also, is this nearly a square? Now 162 times 305 is the second to last multiplication problem before going on to 4 digits. We completed about half the multiplication problems, so let's not quit now. We are at 625 times 853, the final 3-digit multiplication problem. Can you tell that the first number is a power of 5? What's the answer? No? Okay, let's keep going. This one is 136 times 8,886, and this is the first of the 6 multiplication of our current type, 4-digit. Also, there are 3 8s in a row. Imagine if the second number was 8,888, then we would have 4 8s. So 2,355 times 2,549 is the 26th multiplication problem, and this is the 20th to last problem we'll deal with today. Also, this is the second quadruple digit problem. We are now at 1,403 times 2,777, the 27th problem. Remember seeing 3 8s, which is 2 multiplication problems ago? Well, now there are 3 7s. Let's do 3,903 times 6,940 as the 28th math problem. So 3 times 6 is 18, 9 times 6 is 54, 3 times 9 is 27, 54 plus 27 is 81, and you do the rest. The 29th problem is 9,236 times 8,616. So first, how many 6s do you see? Please let me know in the comments below. Now, please solve this math problem. Please pause this video while solving this, unpause it, then move on. Have you done it yet? Are you sure? Forget it. Then let's move on. The last 4-digit multiplication problem is 7,118 times 2,494. Also, do you think I forgot that the previous multiplication problem was the second to last one with 4 digits for each number? Yes? No? Either way, let's keep going. Problem 31 is 10,922 times 77,530. Also, we are at the first of the 5-digit multiplication problems. The result from this alone is in the 100 millions now. This one is 85,009 times 63,481 and is the 32nd multiplication problem. We are almost at 6-digit multiplication problems. Let's do 3 more, and we will get there. This 33rd problem is 42,732 times 37,886, and we are midway between the end of the 4-digit multiplication problems and the beginning of the 6-digit problem. Problem number 34 is 33,546 times 52,173, and this has a result of over a billion. Additionally, this is the second to last 5-digit multiplication problem, and 34,906 times 45,659 is the last problem before we move on to 6 digits and before the final 10 multiplication problems. So with that, let's conclude this training session with 10 final multiplication problems. The 3,000th math problem is 362,131 times 997,933, and we are at the final 10 multiplication problems, and you know how far we come, even though you have to do these for at least 30 minutes to an hour. We are now at 132,802 times 818,594, and we are now at the 9th to last multiplication problem. The result is getting crazy big, but let's move on. Number 38 on this list is 919,169 times 409,211, the 8th to last problem. The results are approaching the trillions now, and now, 541,572 times 719,992 is the last 6-digit multiplication problem and the 7th to last problem overall. Also, I see 3 9s this time. Now let's go into the 7-digit type. The 40th multiplication problem is 6,085,599 times 3,345,523, and we are now at the 6th to last multiplication problem. Also, this is the first 7-digit multiplication problem. 5,490,185 times 5,248,768 is now the 5th to last multiplication problem. Because of this, the results are now in the trillions. Wow, just wow. The last 7-digit problem is 4,908,542 times 962,194. We are at the fourth to last multiplication problem, so let's not stop there. Instead, let's move on to 8 digits. This one is 10,150,407 times 81,583,046. The third to last multiplication problem and the first of the two 8-digit ones. We are getting very close to the end, and the results are approaching the quadrillions. The second to last multiplication problem is 89,094,382 times 57,984,572, and this is the last 8-digit multiplication problem. Now the results of these problems are approaching the maximum, so with that, we are moving into the final multiplication problem. And this is it, 333,652,233 times 709,353,747 is the last, and we mean the final multiplication problem, and hopefully, it will only take a few more minutes to solve this one, and after that, we will have done it. By the way, the result of this problem alone is in the 100 quadrillions, and the problem is a 9-digit multiplication problem. Thank you for making it to the end. If you want more videos like these, please subscribe to the Dust1218 channel and turn on notifications. And with that, we will see you next time.